Oh, and I guess this thing is just gets better and better at going live. That was fast. Hello, everybody. This is My Two Cents. Welcome to the February Patrons Hangout. Once or twice a month, I host these streams just to give back to all those that so generously support my channel and make my work possible. It's an opportunity for them to discuss whatever they'd like. And of course, we do keep an eye on the chats. If you're not a patron, want to take part in the conversation, but it's primarily for those that do support the channel. So I'm joined right now by Night Shift 10,000 and Pipsqueak, and for the next hour or so, we're just going to discuss whatever is on their minds.
Awesome.
Awesome. And I know it takes a little while for stuff to kick in here, but I see we do have two viewers right now, JC Armitage and Cody Ferret. Hello to both of y'all. JC Armitage is pretty much our most loyal stream viewer between both these streams and the streams I do on my gaming channel. So I guess I'll put it out to Night Shift and Pipsqueak. Anything recently on your minds that y'all want to discuss?
Oh no, the impeachment trials just ended. The whole impeachment fiasco just ended.
Yes, some of the most entertaining television I've seen in a while.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, it turned out exactly as we all knew it would. Donald Trump was acquitted by the Senate. Democrats didn't have a prayer in terms of the amount of votes that they would need to get him removed from office. But I did find it hilarious. Trump's speech where he holds up the newspaper showing he's acquitted. Nancy Pelosi's whole antics tearing up his speech in the State of the Union. And then...
I saw a lot of people quoting a section of U.S. code talking about how the punishment for a public official entrusted with public documents to deliberately deface or destroy gets booted out of office, and a lot of people going, oh, she should be booted out of office. I absolutely promise you that was a photocopy or something, because there is no way in hell she's ever going to be prosecuted under that statute.
Oh, yeah.
No
absolutely.
way.
No.
And, you know, when I heard about that, I tweeted out, I said, this seems completely ridiculous. But then again, so were the charges they brought against Trump. So, honestly, I would love to see her get a taste of her own medicine and actually get prosecuted for that.
It would be hilarious if she did, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it was just pre-planned, orchestrated political theater.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Although I must admit, seeing Nancy Pelosi tearing that page up, that had me laughing so hard. That was the money shot of that whole thing, and I fell off my couch laughing at that. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, it absolutely was. Especially, and I know a lot of commentators I've listened to have been talking about this. Given how the Democratic Party tries to paint that, you know, Donald Trump is just a child, he's, you know, he's unpredictable. He's bad for the country. He just behaves in a way that a U.S. president should not behave. And then to see her behave like that, you know, you lose.
Yeah.
Hypocrisy does not in and of itself mean you're wrong, but you do lose a lot of credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they think it was a good idea to do that, but no, it's. I mean, I've been saying for a while that. Trump will not win the next election. The Democrats are just going to lose it.
Mm-hmm. If Donald Trump were just to close his mouth for the next year, he'll absolutely win and let the Democratic Party destroy itself. Now, the one thing I would like to see, and admittedly, I could have done some actual research into this if I had the time, but all I did so far was just tweet out this question. I said, has anyone actually attempted to tally up at this point the amount of U.S. taxpayer funds that have been wasted on trying to remove Trump from office between the 2-year-long Mueller investigation that turned out to be a big nothing burger, this whole impeachment effort, the amount of witnesses that they brought before Congress, the efforts to stonewall the vote in the Senate and whatnot. Because something people don't think about is every step of that process has costs associated with it. When you bring people into Congress, I mean, the cost of the time they spend.
Don't congressmen and senators get paid extra for being part of the impeachment proceedings? I read that somewhere. Is that true?
I'm not. You know what? Let's go ahead and Google it. I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me, especially considering it's not. Would be a collateral duty, as it were, not necessarily within the scope of their specific responsibilities in Congress. See, do congressmen?
They're government workers, so I would say the immediate answer is yes. The government will pay you for just about everything.
That's my assumption as well, but I just want to double check.
Well,
all right. You know what? Let's try DuckDuckGo because it's clear that Google is manipulating the responses to that question. I've been trying to get better at using DuckDuckGo. I know, admittedly, after years of using Google, I still default to that, but DuckDuckGo is absolutely a wonderful Google alternative. Did congressmen get extra pay for sitting on impeachment trial? Don't see any official-looking publication that explicitly answers the question, but a lot of threads here where people are asking the question. I mean, I guess that's something I'm gonna have to research more offline, but the point being the resources that it takes. I mean, if nothing else, the time that you spend discussing those issues is time that's not being spent actually discussing issues that the American people allegedly elected their politicians to deal with, be it foreign policy, healthcare, or anything else that's concerns the American public. Instead, they're spending all these time and resources trying to remove a president from office, which is not even happening. So however many $20 million or whatever on the Mueller investigation, but between all this, exactly how much of the American taxpayers' dime has been wasted on this crap? That is what I would like to know.
It'd be nice.
JC Armitage says way too effing much. Well, that's one way of putting it. That's certainly one way of putting it. I guess on that note, one interesting thing discussion that I think is going to become more relevant in the coming days, especially as the 2020 election comes into play, is within the Democratic nominees, there really doesn't seem to be anyone who's you'd think the Democratic Party would want to put forward a candidate that they could say would be effectively the moderate candidate to wait, as opposed to someone like Bernie, who seems to be increasing in popularity. Buttigieg, who could try to sell himself as moderate, but really isn't. I thought of this because as I was driving today, I was listening to a commentator talking about the Democratic debate that took place recently and how Bernie is, again, pitching the whole narrative about how he's a democratic socialist and how he moves after Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and the other Nordic countries, which have the most successful systems in the world, all the while ignoring the fact that ever since the 1980s, he can be put on record in support of the Sandinista government in Nicaragua, of the USSR, of Cuba. So he absolutely has been a full-blown communist his entire life, but now wants to say, I'm a democratic socialist. And again, the discussion needs to be had. And I'm thinking of, I started brainstorming today of exactly how I want to do this, whether it be a series of short videos, one major video, but again, have the discussion. The average person doesn't seem to understand the difference between, what is communism, what is socialism, what is Marxism, what is democratic socialism, what is social democracy. And all the while, Bernie is ignoring the fact that the Nordic countries are about the same, if not freer than the United States in terms of economic freedom. They simply have a market economy that is combined with a lot of very generous wealth. So embrace many free market practices that people like Bernie are completely against, such as no government mandated minimum wage, very strict immigration policies that prevent freeloaders from flooding over the border, free trade, which allows the businesses that they do have to flourish and to produce much of that capital that gets redistributed. So I don't know if you all have any ideas of how you think that would, how I should phrase those questions, or organize those videos, but I think it would be worthwhile, especially to people who are going to be undoubtedly trying to find answers to those kind of questions moving into the election, to have those kind of discussions. So I don't know if if either of you have any thoughts about that.
Well, the big problem with Norway is that it does look like that on the surface, but they tax people through the freaking roof on those things. And they also price control there. And like the prices for certain things like food and whatnot are outrageous over there, to the point where to certain extents people can't even afford it. And the sales tax, the income taxes are just outrageous over in countries like Norway and Sweden. And it does kind of down the quality of life over there. So, I mean, really, before you go into saying that they're the best places on earth, you might want to look at, how their populace is doing as opposed to how the state is doing. That's just my thing, though.
Doesn't Norway also rely on a lot of the North Sea oil deposits over there?
Well, that's the reason it's actually that's the reason that they're doing so well in the current system that they have. It's kind of like it's kind of like Venezuela, only a little bit more free markety.
Well, I think one thing that I think needs to be made clear. I know the Foundation for Economic Education has published several good articles about this. I've talked about it previously in a live stream with Base Dragon. That was a while back, but the Nordic countries, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, have, as far as their economy is concerned, they have market economies. If socialism properly understood, as Marx defined it, was common ownership of the means of production. But since, of course, common ownership in practice never actually works, it ends up being government ownership of the means of production, which is what you have in a place like Venezuela, what you had in the USSR, Cuba, any other officially socialist states. The Nordic countries have privately owned businesses and privately owned property. They have a free market economy, and it's actually freer in many ways than the United States or other Western nations. They do not have government mandated minimum wages. They fully embrace free trade. What they really what makes them quote unquote socialist in the eyes of someone like Bernie is that they have very high end taxes and they have very generous welfare programs. But as Night Shift just pointed out, the tax rates are through the roof and they're on the average person. It's not just the politicians like Bernie and love to talk about how it's the 1%, the Jeff Bezoses of the world, the big corporations, these wealthy hoarders that are just hoarding all this wealth and won't give it to the people who really need it. These are the people that we're going to tax, not the middle class, not the poor. Well, if you look at the Scandinavian countries, that's absolutely false. In order to have the bloated welfare system they have to tax everyone at extraordinarily high rates. And if you say the only way it really works is in as much as, because they are so economically free in other regards, there's enough capital left to go around that the system can somewhat sustain itself. But as I talked about in previous videos, even take Denmark, for example, the population in Denmark, the amount of people living on government-funded pensions is steadily going up year by year. The population is staying relatively the same, but the amount of people that are totally depending on government handouts to survive is going up. So do the math, that system is unsustainable. And depending on what they do, it may last longer or longer or shorter, but it's still unsustainable for the same reason. So it's only lasted as long as it has because they so fully embrace free markets in other regards. But another interesting thing is Democrats are so all about immigration, open borders, and any effort to control your borders is racism, which of course I do in principle support open immigration for reasons other than what Democrats want. But of course they support open borders because they want to promise welfare benefits to illegal immigrants so that they will permanently change the American voter base and guarantee that they stay in office. Well, countries like if you look at the Nordic countries' immigration policies, they have very strict, or at least until recently, they have had very strict immigration policies, specifically because immigrants flooding across the border would absolutely collapse the massive welfare state they have. So all people who are looking at these as the paradigms of socialism working. One, it's not socialism as Marx understood it, because there is not quote unquote common ownership of the means of production, or even official state ownership of the means of production. And the welfare state they have only is unsustainable, but has only sustained itself up to this point due to free market practices. And we are now joined by Scorch. Just quick, hello to Scorch88. He hasn't joined us in a while, but is here. Scorch, what's up?
Not much. Hello.
Hey, Scorch.
Hey, guys. I've been busy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just got done repiping a 1950s house with copper.
Ah, and how was that?
It took 4 days. I was pretty much the only plumber, and I had a helper.
Well, good for you. I'm sure you have the satisfaction of a job well done.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
So what was Shot talking about?
No. Just let me go into this. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. Hasn't Norway almost completely nationalized its oil industry, though?
Not sure off the top of my head, but again, let's see what let's DuckDuckGo it and see what I can find about that.
All right.
I'd just like to make the point of I don't consider any difference between state ownership and common ownership. They're the same thing to me, because they always end up being the same things. That the only possible way you could get such a thing. It's like common ownership of the means of production. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? And it always has to mean the state, because there is no other common group.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I don't know if y'all remember, a while back in my early days of YouTube, I made a video called "Why Common Ownership Always Fails," and I actually should think about remaking that one with some better quality. But my point was, if you have quote unquote common ownership, obviously, if you look at any business, any organization, in any type of tool or capital that is quote unquote owned by everybody, obviously only so many people can use it at any one time. So when you have 30 people that own one particular piece of capital, how do you decide who gets to use it and when, if they all own it? Inevitably, you end up having to have some sort of leadership or some kind of arbitration that makes that decision, which effectively becomes the state. And also the question of who is responsible for maintaining it. If everybody owns it, well, if everybody owns the business, who's responsible for taking out the trash and doing the other duties that nobody actually wants to do? They either don't get done, or you appoint someone as the leader, some sort of arbitration, who ends up assigning those tasks. So, well, you can say, I don't believe in state, as many socialists or anarcho-communists do. They'll say, I don't believe in state ownership of the means of production. I believe in common ownership of the means of production. Well, as you pointed out, Pipsqueak, and as I'm just trying to expand upon now, they have to become the same thing, because it is impossible for multiple people to make use of a single piece or even multiple pieces of capital without that kind of arbitration. It just can't be done.
That's anarcho-communism, dude. It always breaks down into a pure direct democracy. Always. It always has, and it always will.
And pure direct democracy always falls into dictatorship.
Exactly.
Now, just quickly, I did want to address this comment here from JC Armitage. I don't remember which Scandinavian country this was, but doesn't one of them have 40% of their population living completely dependent on the state? I believe that is Denmark. The Mises Institute had an article about it that was published in 2013. I'll actually look for that link now and post that in the chat. But according to what I'm finding on a number of websites here, yes, Norway has nationalized its oil industry.
Yep.
Oh, fun. That's not going well. Yeah, next was Venezuela.
Well, that's what I was saying, is that Norway is very much like Venezuela, but it's got a little bit more free market economics mixed in with it.
Yeah, just without the rampant nationalization of other industries, and without the central planning economy that we see in Venezuela.
Exactly, and I mean, you could almost claim that is really the only reason that Norway appears to be so successful, is because they have that kind of backing them, and they've nationalized it for the most part. But to that end, if you don't have that, if you don't have that enormous source of wealth, then the system will fall apart. It always has, always will, and that's what you can expect.
The system will always keep growing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did we lose my 2 cents?
Oh, nope, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
I just muted my mic for a second. JC Armchair says, would toilets in public schools be considered public toilets? Well, actually, I can't believe I forgot this, but the first, in my video about why common ownership always fails, I said, what comes to your mind initially when you hear the words public toilet, what comes to your mind? That's all you need to know about common ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, anybody who's ever been to a public toilet knows they're absolutely disgusting because when when everybody owns it and no one is responsible for cleaning it, what happens? It doesn't get cleaned and it falls in complete disarray. That is what common ownership does.
Yep.
Ugh.
Oh, I see Mag has joined us. Mag, I have not seen you in a while. What's going on?
Hey, Mag, what's up?
She is in the chat. Albedo says, talk about Lebanon's economic collapse. No,
Wait,
that
I
is
don't know anything about Lebanon's economic collapse. That's the problem.
that I have had. I know he has mentioned that before. I have had difficulty finding information about it. Let me see what I can do initially here.
Wait, 2 cents. Can Mag still join?
Mag is not a patron at the moment.
Oh, seriously? Okay.
She's still obviously a close friend of the channel. She was a patron for a very long time, but
All right.
I mean, I can put it on my side if you want to.
yeah, if she would like to.
Yeah, I can see if she
Hey,
wants
Nate,
that.
what's up?
Nate, the volunteerist. Nate, are you wanting to join the stream or just gonna be in the chat? Because we got a delay, so I'll wait for his answer. But
Join us, Nate. Join the ANCAP Collective.
all right, number of articles from mostly from Lebanon-based news sources and other Middle Eastern news sources about Lebanon's economic collapse.
All right, I'm back.
Hey,
Hey, Meg, what's going on?
nothing much. As I said in the chat, we just got Pokemon cards, and we were just playing through them. And I've never played Pokemon cards before, so yeah, that was fun.
Cool.
Oh, well, that's cool. I everyone knows how much I love Pokemon, although admittedly I've never been into the card game, just the video games.
Same. Well, actually, I can't really say that because I've never played the game till now. So I've always liked the anime, so I have liked Pokemon for years.
Oh my God, that's Pokemon cards and Magic cards. That's where I got my start. That's where I got my
Well,
start.
you played Yu-Gi-Oh for the longest time.
Yeah,
I never played Yu-Gi-Oh.
I played
No.
Yu-Gi-Oh. I wasted so much money on those cards, and looking back on it,
I stopped playing after they started introducing Pendulum or something.
well, the game fundamentally changed. I remember I stopped playing when they changed the rules. Like they issued a official ruling where a bunch of cards got banned, and then after that, a bunch of new cards got released, and the rules changed really radically. And I was just like, okay, I'm done with this. I've already wasted way too much money trying to get these super rare cards just so I could win. And then, of course, 6 months later, a new bunch of cards gets released. You have to change your strategy because the rules get changed. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I don't like that part. I just rather I play for casual, just me and my friends.
We'll never play for tournaments and whatever not, so we don't care if we're using old cards. We don't care.
Well, here's my problem with Yu-Gi-Oh. Every time I tried to pull a trap card, it had a picture of Nikita Dragoon or Blair White on it.
Imagine every time you pull the trap card and then you actually see a trap, if you know what I mean.
No, oh God. That was actually one of the things I was so glad that my 2 cents did. He made it a rule that in the Discord, you cannot post trap pics. Thank you so much. I'm still
Yes,
very
thank
grateful.
you.
You're welcome. And I have enforced that rule. There were at least 2 individuals who got kicked for posting traps. So.
I can imagine who.
Yeah, to answer Albedo's question quick, so I'm looking here. Everything I use DuckDuckGo, so I'm not using Google. Every article most articles about Lebanon's economic collapse are stemming from Middle Eastern news agencies, and almost all of them are more than a year old. So what's interesting, so I don't know where he's drawing his information about Lebanon's economic collapse, but it is clear that it is not something mainstream media outlets are interested in talking about.
Of course. Oh, by the way, I just want to say thank you, although I'm not a patron right now, letting me still be here, at least in the background.
All right, I'm willing to make an exception for you, Mag. You were a loyal patron for a very long time, so I understand I understand your circumstances have changed, but you are still a friend of the channel. So
thank you.
It looks like Nate is going to be joining us soon. He says he is warming up his computer.
Yay.
Oh, that's good. I haven't talked to him for a while.
Cody Foretz asked a question in chat about the Lorax. I have not seen that movie.
Which movie?
The Lorax.
Oh, I saw that like years ago.
Which
Lorax? I didn't mind it. I know like a lot of people didn't like it because it didn't match. Like there was like a cartoon about it that was better. I've seen both versions. I don't mind the one they did of the movie. I just still think the cartoon's better. I can agree to that, but I don't think it's that bad.
The only familiarity I have with the Lorax is Vietnam War jokes.
I have not seen it.
The trees speak Vietnamese.
Was the Lorax the one with Taylor Swift in it? Was a voice in it?
I have no idea.
What?
Yes.
I don't know.
All I know is a little orange guy that loved the trees, and then eventually he destroyed the trees, and then there was a civilization that had to buy oxygen.
That was put in. That was not in the original book. The book.
Oh no, that wasn't. I was talking about the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just the whole anti-corporate spiel, capitalism evil.
Also, what is it, like global warming, whatever not?
Yeah, very much.
Like, I don't hate it. I definitely still think like the book and cartoon was like the little short was better, but I don't hate the movie.
I didn't care for it.
Yeah. Though considering like I feel like a lot of people would get mad in the sense that like, oh, you have to buy air, whatever not. But like in some places, yeah, I'd rather buy good water instead of my tap water that's crab.
Oh, hey Nate.
Hey Nate.
Hey, what's up?
Now, much on the subject of buying air, it sounds ridiculous, but I think the point that needs to be made is, again, the issue is scarcity. If there's not enough of it to go around, then you need some way of rationing it. You can either do that, you can do it by prices, you can do it by bureaucratic fiat, you can do it by random chance, but either way, there has to be rationing. Government flicking a pen does not magically make more of the resource appear.
Well, what Cody, and I would just want to pause here to welcome Nate to the stream. Hi, Nate.
Hey, what's up? Good day, mate.
Hey, we're talking about the Lorax. But anyway, Cody's question was, who would own the land of the trees, the Lorax or Onceler, whoever that is? I think there is certain circumstances which you could say the Lorax actually does have a legitimate claim to the forest, whatever that may look like. You know, if they're actually actively managing that forest and ensuring that it remains as a healthy natural habitat, I think he's putting work into it to maintain that as, you know, I think there's a very strong claim to make that he's homesteaded that and is essentially created a park under his ownership, or a reserve. Sorry.
Well, here's something I want to say though. Has anyone noticed, basically on the whole buying oxygen thing, has anyone noticed that the free market pretty much can make anything marketable? Because I mean, on the topic of buying like oxygen, you can do that in an oxygen bar. You can literally do that. Some bars will actually have like an oxygen section where you can hook up and you can just breathe oxygen in the corner, and you can pay them to do that. People do this. I mean, God, it's just like, you know, anything, whether it's scarce or not, can be made marketable through the free market. And it just blows my mind how much the market provides.
Well, oxygen in certain amounts promotes the growth of cancer and has been known to make younger people go blind. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't I wouldn't just be huffing oxygen for the sake of it.
Yeah. Though I will also say, in some places that are like either really polluted by smog or whatever stuff, some places are also very limited in oxygen, so need a balance in there.
I like JC Armish's comment
That
here.
might work.
Someone should make an MLP parody called "My Little Understanding of Economics." Government is magic.
Yes.
I always get this argument from statists, you believe in magic. You think if we get rid of the state, things will magically be better. And I'm like, well, you kind of believe in magic too. Right? Because you keep trying to vote for the right people, quote unquote. Somehow things will be better. Yeah.
Better-
I
Yeah,
think
better
if a
yet.
certain class of individuals writes down a specific set of words
Govern-
on paper, then that'll cast a magic spell and make everything the way it should be.
Exactly.
It's not how reality works.
Nah.
No
At
on
least-
and off switch on this one.
Yeah.
Just
It-
have
it's-
to get the incantation right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say quick. Makes me think of like Legend of King Arthur. And Arthur's got Merlin as part of his court. At least in fictional governments, you actually
What?
can have some degree of magic.
Yeah.
Wet
Yeah,
tarts
just-
throwing swords at people is no basis for a system of government.
Yeah, just don't get near King Arthur or else he might turn you into gold.
I think that was Midas.
My bad.
So, wouldn't he basically make it so gold would be useless in his world? Because he could just keep making things in the gold.
Wait a
Well,
minute.
yes, it would cease to be scarce in the way that it is that makes it valuable. Because if he can create it with the snap of his fingers, then I think the Legend of King Midas is just like looks like we lost Night Shift.
Night.
All right. Well, I'm sure he'll be back. The Legend of King Midas, if I'm not mistaken, goes Midas was just this greedy king, and he loved gold, and all he wanted to do every day was go into his vault and, like Scrooge McDuck, swim in his gold and laugh as he adored his wealth. And like one day, some troll or something comes to him and asks him for a single wish to be granted, and he wishes that everything he touches would turn into gold. But of course, he then realizes he can't eat because the moment he tries to pick up food, it turns into gold and is inedible. And then when he touches people, they even turn to solid gold. And I think he touches his own daughter, and she turns into solid gold. And he realizes how evil his wish was, and he has to go do whatever to wash away his evil wish and undo everything he did. But
I can't remember if it was his daughter or his wife, but it was at least his family.
yes,
Hey, Night.
Hey, I'm
Yeah,
back.
Shift is back. Well, it is a Greek myth, so I'm not going to be surprised if one of the versions ends up turning himself to gold, because the Greek myths really love punishing people for hubris.
oh, absolutely.
And the sad thing is that if he polished that wish a little bit, it might have actually worked.
If he'd been a little more specific with his wish.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of also like, I think the example I always think of is, say, for example, like the monkey's paw. Yeah, you would have to either be like really specific, or you have to make sure there's no loose ends. And it's basically, those stories are always trying to teach you a lesson in some way, shape, or form.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I like this.
What?
What was that? You're breaking up, Night Shift.
Halloween of Horrors, Monkey Force Jam.
Yeah, you cut out. You said I like this, and then you cut out, and then
I heard something
Hold on.
Simpsons.
Oh, wait, no, am I still cutting out now?
no,
No,
you're good.
You're good now.
Wait, no, I mean, yeah, I was talking about the Simpsons version of the monkey paw, the monkey's paw thing.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, basically, it was the Simpsons Halloween horror special where
Yeah.
Yeah.
and and Homer was trying to be specific. He was like, okay, I want a turkey sandwich, and I don't want any zombie turkeys. I don't want to turn into a turkey myself, and no funny business. You got it. He takes a bite out of it. It's like the turkey is a little dry, and he just freaks out.
Who here? Who remembers the Nickelodeon?
It's like, yeah, it's like he wants a turkey sandwich, and there's like no other shenanigans. But no, it has to have something wrong with it.
Who remembers the Nickelodeon cartoon, The Fairly Odd Parents?
Yes,
Yes.
oh my gosh.
Okay, you ever see the episode where Timmy finds a genie, and he laughs when the genie's like, "You get 3 wishes," and he's like, "Ha ha! I fairy godparents, I don't need 3 wishes." Well, the genie's like, "Well, my wishes are rule free." Well, so he starts making wishes, but then discovers that genies are like mischievous, and no matter what you wish, they'll find some way to screw up your wish and make it blow up in your face. So, but at the end, Timmy gets a fairy lawyer who writes out his wish, and like it's more than 100 pages long and in detail to make sure the genie has no way of messing up his wish.
Well, the thing that's actually something that's actually quite interesting is the genie. If you kept along with the series, I watched it for years. If I remember correctly, he turned into a fairy. The genie turned into a fairy.
That's the way to do it.
Albedo actually has an interesting question here. Do you think Trump is being set up as the next Herbert Hoover and blame the upcoming collapse on Trump and the free market? Well, to answer your question, I'll have to do it in 2 parts. Because I don't think when you say Herbert Hoover was set up to...
Night Shift, can you hear us?
Night Shift? Night Shift, hello?
Yeah, what's up? Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you guys, yeah.
Okay, just you interrupted me there at a point that didn't make sense, so we just wanted to make sure that you are following the conversation.
No, oh man, my connection's really breaking up here.
Okay. No problem. Well, it's live on via Wi-Fi. I understand their problems. Anyways, continuing with what I'm saying, Herbert Hoover wasn't really set up to be blamed for the free market. If you understand the history of the Great Depression, Herbert Hoover was not a free market capitalist. He was a heavy interventionist. He told businesses essentially not to cut wages or prices. He attempted price supports. He attempted using public works to stimulate the economy. He more than doubled the federal income tax. Herbert Hoover was not a free market capitalist. Now, ex post facto, some 50 years down the road, people have tried to rewrite history and say that Herbert Hoover was a free market capitalist, and that basically what happened is when the Great Depression struck, Herbert Hoover said, let's just let the market fix itself. It didn't work. Then FDR was voted in, and he fixed it with the New Deal. That's not what happened. Herbert Hoover was an interventionist. FDR was a worse interventionist. Neither one of them did anything to fix the economy. But to your more immediate point,
made it worse.
Yes,
Yep, extended it.
But to your more immediate point, do you think Trump is being set up to, when the economic collapse comes, him and the free market will be blamed? That I think is quite possible. But what frustrates me more than anything is that Trump has absolutely played right into that, assuming it happens as we think it is. Because Trump, like during the Obama administration, Trump rightly criticized Obama's economic policy. He criticized the Fed's quantitative easing. But now that he's taken over, he has insisted on taking credit for the wonderful economy. He's actually calling on the Fed to cut interest rates and do quantitative easing. So when the economy does collapse, Trump could have said, our economy is in a bubble. It's been in a bubble since Obama reinflated one following 2008. And despite the fact, to his credit, I'll give credit where credit's due. Trump's tax cuts nominally stimulate the economy on a temporary basis. His deregulatory ambitions stimulate the economy, again, on a temporary basis. But because he refuses to look into shutting down Social Security or Medicare, because he has actually advocated that the Fed cut interest rates, he's not in any meaningful sense stimulating the economy. And now, but because he's insisted on taking credit, he is absolutely going to get the blame when the economic collapse comes. And that is whether you say he is being set up or, in one hand, yes, I know they're the economic elites, the central bankers absolutely will use him for that purpose, but he has not helped his own case. Because he's insisted on taking credit for the greatest economy in the world, he is absolutely going to fall on his own sword when it collapses.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's being set up. I think he is genuinely being earnest in his beliefs, but he's not a free market advocate. He's an old school protectionist.
Yeah, I have to say, when I listen to him saying we need more sanctions on, say, Iran, I'm reminded of, like, say, Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren saying we need stronger rules and regulations on Wall Street, and then I'm doing the overdramatic facepalm, and I'm reminded of what Murray Rothbard said, which is there is nothing wrong with remaining ignorant on economics, for most may consider it to be the dismal science, but it is totally irresponsible to loudly and publicly proclaim an opinion on economics while remaining in such a state of ignorance.
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
Absolutely.
Ron Paul could be president right now, and they would still blame the upcoming collapse on free market economics.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter who's in, it doesn't matter what policies they do, they will always blame economic collapse on the free market.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just a
Yeah.
fact of politics.
Exactly. I mean, they did it in 2008. They did it during the dot-com bubble. I mean, going all the way back to the Great Depression. This is exactly the pattern. The government intervenes in the economy goes to hell, and the government then says this is the result of free market regulations. This is the result of lack of regulations in the free market. We need more regulations, all the while ignoring it was their own regulations that caused it.
You know, there's red crayon all over the wall, and the red crayon points to the blue crayon. He did it!
Suckies, yeah, $2 super chat. Trump will win again. MAGA CAG. Well, thank you for the super chat.
Well,
Thanks for the $2.
Bernie,
don't
Bernie
think anyone's
wins the. I was gonna say, if Bernie wins the Democratic nominee, it'd be a hard toss-up between the two, to be honest. But if anyone else win, I'm pretty sure Trump will win again.
Well, I doubt that the
Bernie will
DNC.
win the DNC nomination because the DNC doesn't appear that they want him to win. And yes, what same thing happened 4 years ago, I think will happen again.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the DNC is going to let Bernie get anywhere near the nomination again. Looks like.
Well, they stonewalled him once. You think they're going to let him do it again?
I mean, yeah, that's exactly my point.
I don't want any of them to win.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah, let's-
I mean,
yeah, let's-
I don't want
yeah,
any
let's
of
take-
them.
Yeah, let's take care of ourselves for the next 4 years and see how we do. Right?
I like that plan.
I do too.
I will just say this for the record. I want Donald Trump to win, if for no other reason than he's so entertaining.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
What about AOC? She's
Oh,
entertaining.
No.
Why not? She's entertaining. I mean,
But
if
no.
if she loses, then we're not going to have any more mini AOC, right? I mean, come on.
Well, that's true, and that's the quandary right there, isn't it?
But the damage that she would do.
Well, it doesn't matter. Both suck.
True.
You know, I just want to point something out. Why is AOC so popular? There are a lot of reasons, but I noticed the other day as I was searching, I was looking up the. I had heard that she had announced she was going to skip Trump's State of the Union address. As I was typing her name into Google, I noticed that the most search, like when you know how you start typing something, it shows you the most search terms. Well, when you start typing like when you get to Alexandria, not even finishing Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it turns out that the most searched term on Google is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez bathing suit.
Whoa! I don't want to have a picture in my head. Thank you. No, thanks. No,
Okay.
thanks.
But given that is the most searched term, I have to wonder what really drives AOC's popularity.
Yeah.
My question is, did you look at what it was?
No, I did not actually search it. I just noticed that that's the most searched term.
Oh my gosh. Maybe Google knows you like swimsuits so much, they just formed it in there for you.
Yeah, maybe, but according to that is what when people are searching Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the thing they're most looking for is a picture of her in a bathing suit.
No, thank you. I would not want that.
I wonder if Tulsi Gabbard won on the same kind of credit.
No, please no. Please don't give them any more ideas. Please
Good old
don't give them
coconut
any
milk
more
mommy?
ideas. No, please, no.
Can we change the subject, please?
All right, changing the subject. I didn't mean that to derail that as quickly as I did. I just thought it was interesting that was the most searched term on Google.
No.
A bit of a side thing, and just to bring along the conversation. I don't know much about it. What are you guys thinking of 2020's? I don't know if anything's come out for it. What is it called, the swimsuit line for whatever the company was. Has anything come out for 2020 yet?
I'm not sure what your Sports
The,
Illustrated.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Oh, the one Night Shift and I reviewed.
Yeah. Anything for 2020 yet?
They've released some of the new rookies on Twitter, but other than that, I don't know.
Anything look promising?
Well, as usual, yes. Well, let's just hope. I would say, I think Sports Illustrated realizes that the majority of their models better be attractive, or else they're not going to sell any issues. It's just this last issue they threw in the politically correct ones, so it remains to be seen how politically correct this year's issue will be.
All right, I was just curious, and I know you guys like that stuff, so.
Yeah, make them stop with that with that PC crap, please. Thank you.
Well, I'll let you, as we're talking here, Mag, I'll pull back on Twitter and find some examples for you. We'll close the stream with that when we finally get to it. But that's more of a end of stream kind of conversation.
Okie dokie.
Well, so is it okay if I bring up something? Or...
Oh, go right ahead.
Go for it.
Okay, perfect. So tomorrow, I'm planning on doing episode 99 of my show, and then a few days later, it's the 100th milestone. And as an added bonus, I have 2 surprise special guests unexpectedly going to be on my show. It's actually footage that I've already recorded. So just yesterday and today. So
Nice.
yeah. And then of course there will be 2 other special guests. So I've got, look forward to a really, really long episode. I mean, a really long one.
Yes.
I already promised that I'd try to go for your 100 one, but I don't think I'll be able to go there for the entire time. But I will try to at least make an appearance.
You don't need to be on for the entire time. I'm doing it all day so that way everybody's got a chance to come on and, make a cameo or say hi, or, if they want to stay and have a conversation. It's all good. So
My other thing I'm thinking of is, no offense, awkward person over there. How are you going to keep stream for at least 6 hours?
Well, what I'm doing, here's how it's going to work. So I'm going to do the first part, and then I'm going to take like a 2-hour break, do another part, another 2-hour break, then the final part, we're done.
All right, then that's not too bad.
Yeah. So first part, it will have a special guest who last appeared a long time ago. Hard to believe. So that would be Gary Chartier, and then
Nice.
then there will be a midway show, which there's no special guest, and then the final part of the show, Blood of the Brave, will be back. So
Yes.
yeah, I can't wait to
Awesome.
have him back, and we'll smash the state some more. So yes, and one of the surprise special guests, by the way, it'll be his first time on my show. So I'm now up to special guest number 9. Number 9 after 100 episodes. Hard to believe.
I don't know why. It's just, Nate, you doing this. I don't know why. Just images of you pulling like a 12-hour or a 24-hour stream on Twitch just comes to mind. Just like a 24-hour gaming stream on Twitch.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I know.
Kudos to those who can pull that off. I do not have the attention span for it.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I would be like, okay, I need a break. We're done for right now. All right, I'll be back. And then, I need another break. All right, I'm back.
Yeah, exactly.
No. I'd rather just do that for every milestone that I do, such as this one. So this is going to be a really big deal, history in the making, basically. So
Yes.
and what I'm going to do is it will air once again, if like a few days afterwards, because I have to finalize it and put everything together. Also, there's a lost episode that's going to be included, so you don't want to miss that. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Ask Zachary Coley. He'll tell you what happened. Mag, I think you remember because you were there.
I think so
Or
too.
you
My
don't.
only thing I have to say with all your guests, please have, I can't remember his name for the life of me, the really funny guy on your show. You know who I'm talking about. You
Pluto?
need him.
Pluto?
Yes, I think it's Pluto. You need Pluto. Have
Oh
Pluto
my
at
gosh.
some point. Please.
If you're not following his Twitter, you're missing out. He is like hilarious. He is absolutely hilarious. 2 cents. I wish you were streaming with Pluto, because he'll make you laugh the entire stream for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And
Well, if
he's
you want,
really smart too.
if you
Oh
want,
yeah, he is.
If he wants to throw in $1 and become a patron, he's welcome to get in on these streams. So,
Or you can if you're able to find a day, you can come on my show, and then either that.
okay,
So.
just let me know when.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, when I first told him how I became an anarchist, he was like, "Oh my gosh, oh no, you poor abused child," or this. So, yeah.
God, I almost wish that Pluto and Corey were patrons of my 2 cents as well, just so they could come
yes.
on. Yes, that'd be awesome if they could come on, because they would tear these streams up. Both Corey and Pluto, they are awesome. I love having them on. They're hilarious and great. And FYI, Corey's life matters. Thank you.
Oh yes, we're gonna make those shirts when I reach 1,000. We're gonna while I'm doing my speech at Anarchapulco, you'll be in the back selling these shirts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't really do introductions on my show anymore, because we're 100 episodes in. It's kind of pointless at this point, because us. Last time Corey did his introduction, he was like saying, "State good. Oh no, state bad. We need to replace state with state. Oh no, state's still bad. State is bad. I understand it's bad. There you go." Something like that.
Retry, abort, fail. Got it.
All right,
Yeah.
Mag as promised, there is the latest rookie that was published.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Nice rookie. Like that she's dark skinned, and I like the what do you call it? The braids in the hair. Some people can pull it off well, and some people can't. She didn't pull it off that bad.
All right, name is Anita Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Sports Illustrated though needs more redheads.
That's a
More
fair
redheads
point if you like redheads. Less hijab models, less overweight models, and more redheads.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would vouch for that.
And actually, JC Armitage, I tried to look up what the sales figures were for the 2019 issue. It wasn't easy to find. I'll have to dig for that. But I wouldn't be surprised if sales were down.
I think also I noticed he says, "I assume the parts will be in approximate 2-hour increments." Is that in reference to my milestone?
I think he was referring to your show. Yes.
It looks like I'm probably gonna do first part 4 hours, then another 4 hours, and probably the last one about 2 hours. So it's gonna be well over 10 hours altogether. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is have the finalized version live streamed once again, though I'm going to start early in the morning, so that way it lasts all day. And, whoever, wants to listen to it during the day while they're working or whatever, they can listen to it while it's live. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right, well, we're coming up in the latter parts of the stream here. Just quick, I see Albedo commented that Birds of Prey bombed at the box office. I know nothing about that movie, but it doesn't surprise me. Because DC Comics has made a lot of bombers when it comes to the movies.
Mm-hmm. Wonder Woman is not one of them, though. Just
No,
goes to say-
of all the DC Comics movies they've made in the DC universe, Wonder Woman was good, Aquaman was good. Some of the others were decent, and some of the others were awful. But Wonder Woman and Aquaman, I liked those.
Who's excited for Sonic for Valentine's Day, or watch it anytime after that?
Sonic?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's coming out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Sonic movie is going.
Oh,
Yeah,
there-
I've completely forgot about that since the whole social media outrage when the first trailer was released and everyone said it doesn't look like Sonic. So the producer said they were going to quick make changes to the animation.
Yeah, they
And
did
then
better
they
with it, and I told myself that they did good. They listened to us, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and watch it. I think the story's going to be kind of basic from what I've seen, but I'm going to give it a shot. They actually listen to people, which when did they ever do that?
I'm gonna try and go watch it on principle because they remade the animation. Because I want to
Yeah.
reward that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Same here.
That is quite a roll of the dice right there, Mag.
Honestly, I'm thinking about it because I'm a huge Sonic fan, and when a Sonic project is done right, it can be really good. It can be really good when it's done right. So I might give it the benefit of a doubt, and I might go. The new Sonic animation, I did like that. I thought they canceled it outright, though. That's what I was worried about.
They even animated it. It looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then based on that, because I did see some of the new animations, and based on that, I might give it the benefit of a doubt and go.
I still think it's a pretty basic story, but I think it will still be decent. It would be enjoyable from a non-critical one. I don't know what the other term is called for it. I'm just-
Enjoyable.
Average viewer. I guess I could say that. But anyway,
It has
Well,
Jim Carrey in it, so.
yes. As
I
many
couldn't-
people have been saying. Oh, sorry.
I couldn't resist but to put this comment on the screen if any Sonic fans would wish to respond.
I
was
miss
a
the
huge-
humor.
The thing about it is, I was a huge fan of his back during the Sega Genesis era, during the first console wars.
Yeah,
You know,
you
those
were
were the-
alive
yeah,
then
those
in
were
the
the days.
90s.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And after Sonic 3, I've got to admit, everything just started going downhill.
Yeah.
Everyone likes Sonic except Sega, apparently.
Pretty much.
I can't say much because I grew up on Mario, and we already had movies, and we don't talk about that.
Oh no, you want something connected to Sonic that we don't talk about? The Sonic anime by ADV.
No, I've heard about
That
that.
was horrible.
I've heard about that.
That is the ordinance we do not talk about as Sonic fans. It never happened.
The live action of
You
Mario
either had to go
never
to an island or
happened.
you had to drink. Am I going robot sounds on here?
Yeah.
Yes. But I can still understand you, but you are going robot sounds.
Oh crap! Is it still happening?
Nope,
Yeah.
you're good.
Little better. Yeah.
All right.
Did you decide to switch to primitive connection?
Just about. Seems like it.
No
You
matter
need
how
to
much,
restart your potato.
no matter
I'd
how
like
good
to say something
technology
on my
gets,
computer, sir.
you can never fix the bugs in live broadcasts.
Yeah. But that also, it also makes it so the most funniest things happens when you're live. Like, sometimes you can't record the most funniest moments. They just come when they're live.
Exactly.
You know what I
It makes the stream interesting.
That it does.
I didn't hear what you just said.
He said it
He
makes
said-
the stream interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. But it also means you can't cut out bleeps.
All right, I'm quick going to answer Albedo's most recent question here. How do you think the coronavirus will affect China's economy? Well, interestingly enough, I know it's been released. The Chinese Chinese central bank has essentially done its own form of quantitative easing to try to prevent some of the economic downturn that has resulted from the coronavirus. But to make a long story short, if lots of businesses have their doors closed, transportation is not taking place, then it's going to put their economy in the crapper. And since China sells a lot of products to the rest of the world, it's going to put the world economy in a crapper. So, and it as I discussed, I would go ahead and watch what I, in my recent 2 Day with 2 Cents podcast, listen to what I have to say there.
I think the virus is killing us because everyone's leaving.
No, everybody's back.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
But yeah, we're clearly having technical issues.
Maybe the state is creating it. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Probably. Honestly, I'm going to put a bank on that.
What the heck?
Goodbye, Patrick
Love you
Rooney.
too, Patrick.
Peace out, bro. Peace out.
Peace out.
Yeah, I remember Eric July had like a comment in one of his videos where they were saying, that's it, I'm unsubscribing. I would say something like that, and then Eric just responds, "Peace out, bro."
Okay.
Like, good
See
for
you next
you.
stream.
All right. Well, on that note, we have been streaming for an hour. I guess, is that a good note to end on, or anybody have anything else?
Yeah,
I
that's pretty much it.
forgot to mention earlier that I would absolutely adore it if we had a stream where we'll play Quiplash from the Jackbox games. I think that'd be hilarious.
Okay. Go ahead and shoot me the info for how we would set that up on Discord, and I'll see what we can do about it.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
JC Armitage, you gotta flash this in 2 cents.
All right.
He'll be back. We'll see him next stream.
All right. I'll go ahead and leave that on the screen as we end this stream. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Just a quick announcement. Unfortunately, I fell behind this week, and I'm not going to be able to release a video by tomorrow. But I think I've done pretty good over the past couple months, making sure we had at least one video per week. So if you can forgive me this 1 week, please do. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with a new video. I am working on a collab with Shane Killian. That's been postponed several times, but hopefully that will be out here in the near future. And if, as always, among patrons, if any of y'all have any requests, I am working on one request for another patron right now. But anybody else, feel free to contact me anytime. If you're not in my Discord server yet, you should be. I posted a link to that at the beginning of this stream. And as always, that is my 2 cents. Y'all can take it for what it's worth. So have a good night.